Hello students, welcome to Eko Learners Support for WAEC and NECO candidates. In today's lesson, we are going to focus on primary stress. Remember, in your WAEC, you are always asked to identify where is stressed. Today's lesson, you will understand how to identify the stressed syllable. Let's get started.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
Our learning objectives. At the end of today's lesson, you will know the meaning of stress, what is what stress, and how to identify stress syllables. What is stress? Now, I said when English is spoken, some syllables can be heard to stand out above the others. These syllables are said to be stressed. In other words, any syllable that sounds louder than the other syllable in a particular word is termed as being stressed. But our focus is on primary stress, which is one of the topics you will encounter when you're doing your WAEC examination or your NECO exam. I said stress refers to the degree of force or loudness with which a syllable is pronounced in words which have more than one syllable. Now, the question sometimes is, how do you identify the syllable that should be stressed? In a situation where you have more than one syllable, when you have 3 syllable words, 4 syllable words, or 5 syllable words, how would you identify the particular syllable that should be stressed? And that is exactly what we're going to learn today. Now, take for instance, would you say banana or banana? Okay, you would say banana or banana. Now, the correct pronunciation would be banana, not banana, banana. If you look at it closely, you will discover that the second syllable is written in capital letter, which means that the second syllable is stressed in the word banana. Do you understand that? Let's go ahead. Now, there are some rules that will help us to know when and how to stress words in English language. And I have some of the rules here. The first rule: most 2-syllable nouns and adjectives should be stressed on the first syllable. Most 2-syllable nouns and adjectives should be stressed on the first syllable. Look at it. Now, the first 4 words we have here, they are nouns. Now, we should stress them on the first syllable. So let's pronounce it together. Present. Present, because the first syllable is stressed, so it should be pronounced as present. Okay, so let's take note of something. Some of these words can also serve, some nouns can also be a verb. We are going to look at that in our next slide. So the first word is present, then record, then object, import. All these are examples of nouns with 2-syllable words, and the words are stressed on the first syllable because they are two syllabic words and they are nouns. So we are to stress them on the first syllable. Let's look at adjective. Vibrant, happy, pretty, hungry. All these words are stressed on the first syllable because they are 2-syllabic words. And in other words, according to this rule, we are to stress any 2-syllable adjectives on the first syllable. So anytime you come across a question, and in that question you can identify that it is an adjective and it has 2-syllabic words, that is, it has 2 syllables, you are to stress the first syllable. Do you understand? Let's move ahead. So look at the second rule. I said most 2-syllable verbs have stress on the second syllable. So when you identify that it is a verb and it is 2-syllable words, you should stress it on the second syllable. Look at this. Remember in our first example, these words also, we have these examples for noun. We also have them in verbs. But when we were dealing with noun, they were stressed on the first syllable. But if it is verb, we have to stress it on the second syllable. So let's look at it now. Take note that the stress should be on the second syllable if it is verb. So it becomes present, present, record, object, import, suspect. All these are examples of verbs with two syllable words, and they are stressed on the second syllable. Now we also have another rule, and this rule says stress rule for words ending in tion, ic, or sion, and this is a bonus mark anytime you come across questions like this, where you see a question that ends with tion shown. This, and this. You should stress the second syllable from the end. That is the penultimate syllable. Penultimate syllable means the second syllable from the end. So where's the second syllable from the end? This is the first syllable, and this is the second one. The first, the second one. First, second. First, second. From the end. Remember I said from the end, right? So how do you pronounce the word? Education, amalgamation, corporation, ration. When you get to this part, that is the place, the penultimate syllable, you have to increase your volume. That is, you have to increase your volume, your pitch. And that is what is called stress. Decision, conclusion, vision, photographic. Take note of these words. You can master this. I said words that ends with tion, sion, or ic. They are bonus points for you when you come across it in any of your exams. Just take note that you have to stress the penultimate syllable. That's good. All right, this is another rule. Words ending in cy, ty, phy, gy, and al. How should you stress these words? These words should receive their stress on the third to the last. That is the antepenultimate syllable, the third syllable to the last. Now let's look at it. So this is the first one. 1, 2, 3. Third syllable from the last, antepenultimate syllable. It is called antepenultimate syllable. Third syllable from the last, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And that is how to get, that is how to identify the particular syllable you will stress when you have words that ends with cy, ty, phy, gy, and al. Please take note of this. You can master these things to help you identify your stress easily without stressing yourself. So this word will be pronounced as democracy. Democracy. When you get to this part, written in capital letter, you have to pronounce it louder than the other syllables. I hope you remember what syllable means. Syllable means breaking down words in smaller chunks. So that is, I remember we've done that in our previous class. Democracy, photography, logical, commodity, psychology. You pronounce your words properly. Otherwise, you sound like a robot if you don't pronounce your words properly. Now this is another rule. We have compound nouns. When you have a compound noun, how should you stress it? So you have to identify the question. Do I have compound noun here? And if you do have a compound noun, this is how to identify exactly where to stress. Look at it. In most common nouns, what is a common noun? A noun made of two or more existing words. Two or more existing words. That's a compound noun. So which particular syllable, which particular word should receive the stress? The stress should be on the first noun. When you have a compound noun, the stress should be on the what? On the first noun. Now look at these examples I have on the board. So this particular word here, it's a word on its own. Mate is a word on its own. Then coming together becomes a compound word, and the stress should be on the first word, which is classmate. Classmate. This is the first word, arm and chair. Arm, chair. Then the goldfish. The first word here is gold, and the second word is fish. The stress should be on the first word, which is gold. I hope you understand that, and I hope you're enjoying the class. Let's look at another rule. Okay, in compound adjectives and verbs, the stress is usually on the second word. Take for instance, we have old-fashioned. The stress is on fa, old-fashioned. The stress is on fa in that particular word, in that particular adjective. Let's look at more rules. Now for words ending in ATE, words ending in ATE are stressed on the antepenultimate syllable. That is, when I say antepenultimate syllable, it means the third syllable from the end. Let's look at it. All these words, they end with ATE. As you can see right here. And if you are to look at the antepenultimate syllable, as I've said earlier, I said is a third syllable from the end. So let's count. 1, 2, 3. So it will be estimate. Estimate. That's the third syllable from the end. Then separate. Separate. The third syllable from the end, from here, second one. Conjugate. Conjugate. The other example we have here, let's count again. 1, 2, 3. That is third syllable. Cultivate. Cultivate. I hope you're getting it. Okay, let's try this together. Yes, you're right. Dedicate. Dedicate. You're going to increase your voice, that is the pitch in your voice when you get to the first syllable. Dedicate, which means the first syllable right here is stressed. That is when you count from the back, 1, 2, 3. This is the antepenultimate syllable. The third syllable from the end should be stressed anytime you have words that ends with ATE. The antepenultimate syllable should be stressed. Let's look at more rules for stress. And I've told you that when you master these rules, it will go a long way to help you in your exam and also in your day-to-day activities. It will help you to pronounce your words correctly, the way it should sound like a native speaker. Now, when you have words that ends with MENT, IZE, ISE, ABLE, or ISM, what should you do? The first thing you should do is detach all the suffix, that is, remove the suffix from the words. For instance, this particular word right here, the suffix is, according to the one on the board, just remove the ISM. And by the time you remove it, you'll be left with ABSU, absurd. So, On the norms, which particular word should receive the stress? Which particular word should receive the stress? The stress should be on the second syllable. And if the stress should be on the second syllable, it will still maintain that particular pattern according to the rules that you've observed earlier. It will still maintain it regardless of the suffix here. And that is why I said detach all the suffixes when you have words that end with ment, IZE, ISE, able, or ISM. When you remove it, it will help you to get the right stress, right? Then you can add it when you're done identifying the right, the particular syllable that is stressed. So let's do it for all the words we have here. And by the time you're done, you'll see that it helps you to arrive at the right answer. So we have active, reason, abominate, abominate. Take note, critic, critic, apology, apology, accomplish, accomplish, enlightened, enlighten. You see, your voice will go up when you get to the particular syllable that is stressed, which is called the particular syllable we are focusing on is primary stress. So enlightened, enlighten. Then when you're done identifying your stress, you can go ahead and add your suffixes back, and it will still maintain the same stress. The particular syllable will still maintain the stress. So disregard, when you come across it, just detach the suffixes and identify your stress, your primary stress first, then you can add it back and it will still maintain the same posture. Now, I hope you've enjoyed the class so far, and to be sure that you've learned something and you understand what we've been doing, I have some questions here for you. You are going to identify the correct stress from number 1 to 3. So I will give you less than 30 seconds to identify that before I come back to tell you what the answers are. Welcome back, and I hope you've done that already. So let's go and look at the correct answers together. The first one. Now we have the word democracy. Now in the first word here, the first option, the third syllable and the last syllable is stressed, and that is not correct. Now look at the second syllable. The last syllable is stressed, which is not correct. Now, let me take you back to what we have done so far. In some of the rules we've learned today, remember I told you when you have CY, I said you should stress the what? The antepenultimate syllable. I've told you that you have to master some of these rules. In fact, master all of the rules. It will go a long way to help you. Now, if you are to stress the antepenultimate syllable, which means the third syllable from the end. So let's look at the option that has the antepenultimate syllable. Now, 1, 2, 3. Now, in the option C, we have democracy, which means that we have stressed the antepenultimate syllable, that is the third syllable from the end, which means this is the correct answer. I hope you understand that. Then the second one, the second question, we have criticism. I'm just going to pronounce it that way. Then let's look at the options A, B, C, D. Let's look at for the one that is correct. Now, to identify the correct answer, remember I told you that when you have words that has these suffixes, that has suffix like this, what should you do? I said detach the suffix, right? Remember that? That was our last rule before. I said that was one of the rules we've done today. I said detach the suffix. So if you are to detach the suffix, and that gives us the answer right here. So criticism. Criticism. Then the last one we have for today is this particular word. Now let's look at what we have here. The first option will discover that the second syllable is stressed, right? Photographer. Anywhere you see the one written in capital letter, it means the particular syllable is stressed. So each particular syllable that has the capital letter should be pronounced louder than the rest of the syllable. So this is 1, 2, 3. Now from the end, 1, 2, 3. So the third syllable from the end, that is antepenultimate syllable, should receive the stress for words that ends with ER. So let's pronounce it together. It becomes photographer, 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 and photographer, photographer, photographer. So the answer is A. And that is it for today.
Eko Learners Support, a support program of the Lagos State Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education for WAEC and NECO candidates.
I hope you've learned something really important. Don't forget to drop your feedback and comment, or also drop your question on our social media handles. Thank you, and see you some other time.